Welcome to the show, everyone. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show in just a little bit, and as all of you out there know, I made it possible for everybody to talk about themselves right on the radio, and that is what we're doing in here right now. I'm going to be going on with my guest right now. My first guest has been on with me once before. I have with me Susan Brooks, and she is with David Allen Capital. Welcome back to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do. Listen up, everyone, because you might need this.
My name is Susan Brooks. I'm with David Allen Capital, and this is a company that helps businesses with funding when they can't get funding through the banks, healthcare when you need insurance for your employees, or you can get it as an individual. And we also help businesses with their payment processors when they're interested in changing out their current payment processors. And
here's what I want to say. How many people are listening right now need funding? A lot.
Especially with the government loans going away.
And so because of that, you work nationwide.
Yes.
And when you work with people, you do a free consultation.
Yes.
And tell them how that works, because, you know, it sounds too good to be true. So tell them how it works and what kind of FICO score they need and all of that.
When I contact somebody and they're interested in talking about the funding, I can give them all the information that they need. And if they have questions that get more in depth than what I feel comfortable with, I refer them to the customer service, and they can talk to them about the funding that they can have. And FICO scores, somebody that's been in business that's doing $10,000 a month or more needs to have a FICO score of 600, and for businesses that do $5,000 a month or more need a FICO score of 500.
So it's sort of, well, that's not bad at all. Somebody
No.
can do that. So it's reasonably attainable.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, providing the companies go through and meet certain qualifications, they can get the funding within just a few days. We do have several lenders out there that this isn't going through banks, it's going through lenders. And we've had a lot of lenders come back now that COVID has settled down a little bit. So we've got more than enough lenders out there.
Now, I want to talk about the forms and how it works. They fill out a form, and what do?
What they do is they go to the website, fill out the forms, and then customer service will, providing the company has gone through and put in all of their forms, customer service will send an email to them and to myself so that I know that they've got the email from customer service, and I'll contact them within a day or two after I receive the email and say, hey, did you get your email from customer service? And then I'll help them make sure that they've got everything lined up, and that way they can finish getting everything in that they need to, so that they can continue on with the process.
Getting the money.
Yes.
Which is what it's really all about.
Yes.
And when they get the money, how does that work? Does it get just plunked into their bank? How does it work?
It gets they get it put into their bank account.
So direct deposit?
Direct deposit, and rather than paying it back on a monthly basis, what they do is micro payments, which is payments on a daily basis rather than a monthly basis, so that it's a little bit easier to pay back.
So let's say somebody was to borrow, and I don't know what the small amount, large amount. What is the typical what you'll get?
With the larger loans, you can have funding either from between $10,000 and $1 million, depending on what you need. With the micro funding, you can get funding for $5,000.
So that's if somebody needs some money quick.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of clients do you work with?
Pretty much anything. There's a few types of companies we don't work with, like adult businesses, companies that do CBD oil.
But mostly anything else?
Pretty much anything else. We don't work with lawyers, bond companies, and a few other things, but pretty much any other type of business.
Now, your website is dacfundingwithsusan.com. Your phone number is 602-478-4377. You do free consultations, and you work nationwide with people. Listen up, everyone. Again, I say this every show. I say it probably, I don't know, all through the show. that I love my show. And I love my show because it's this information out there. And here's the thing, when you're listening to something like this, it's a great idea to just have that conversation. Give her a call, find out. Maybe it's you, maybe it's someone that you know. Who doesn't need funding today? And you can do it as low as, let's say, $5,000, depending on your situation. And it obviously depends on how much money you're earning or bringing in, obviously, and then how much money you want. But a FICO score is as low as 500 for a smaller loan, as opposed at the larger loan. Even that is 600. That is attainable because most people have that already now, right? That's already kind of low.
Yes, and the banks require higher FICO scores than that, along with stricter. Well, they have their certain qualifications.
So to me, when I hear something like this, I say, I'm in a business, and I know right now, especially right now, things are hard for everyone. And if you're needing money, if you're needing funds, this is another way. It's another way of looking how to do something. We got to think outside the box. And if you can't go to the bank, or if you've been turned down, let's say, this is another avenue. Her phone number is 602-478-4377. It's DAC fundingwithsusan.com. Now, before we go to a break, okay, I want to talk about the types of funding that's offered real quick. It says right here, what types of funding do you offer?
We've got the microfunding.
Oh, is that what you mean by microfunding?
Yes.
Okay, so there's the two kind. It's regular funding or microfunding. Well, what's the difference?
The microfunding is for businesses that only make $5,000 a month.
Okay, so that's for that. But you can, either way, you can pay like in increments
On a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
That way it's easier, because if you're making $5,000 a month, you're bringing in enough money on a weekly basis to make these small payments so that you don't have this one huge payment at the end of the month.
So let's say somebody's going to borrow $5,000,
Okay.
let's say, and it's a small company. They're already sort of, having some hassles with their money issues, and somebody who's going to borrow $5,000. Typically, on a kind of, I'm sure everybody's different. How much is that a day that they would pay approximately?
I think it would depend on the company.
Okay.
Customer service could help them with what they would be paying on a daily basis.
Uh-huh. So it can't be that much, because when you're thinking about it on a daily basis, $5,000 in general is not a ton of money. It might sound like it, but it's not.
And it's spread out for a few months too. It's not just paid back in
Right,
one month.
exactly. So now, again, we're thinking outside the box today. Everybody has to. We're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk further, because I know there's other areas that you have that we want to talk about too. You can check her out on her website. It's dacfundingwithsusan.com. You can also call her, write the number down, and have a conversation with her. It's free to do. 602-478-4377. She works nationwide. We'll be right back.
Was that 15 minutes?
Well, it's not a real 15 minutes. It's about 12 minutes. But you remember, I also spoke on that time, too, in the beginning. I know they always do.
I thought it was 5 minutes.
It feels like it. But so now you went to a break, but now you're going back. You're not done.
Right.
Now you have the other half. You see?
Payment processor.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now I got to see what happened here. This is still on.
Okay.
And we also have a backup over there. So something happened here. That doesn't happen very often. But it could be that they're having issues. Facebook is having a lot of issues.
Sure.
I don't know why.
The other thing too is when we do the payment processing, I may have to go through and say, I may have to read off of it, because there's a few things, and if I get to using too many points, I go on to the next question.
Okay.
But there's just a lot of good points there. I don't think we'll be going into the healthcare today.
Okay.
We covered that last time.
Okay.
This is Howie. Travel Insurance Agency offers financial and lifestyle protection for those you love.
Yeah, they're having issues. I can guarantee you. Because,
I had a hard time pulling up Facebook this
yeah,
morning at home.
okay. So I'm here. I have it on this one.
Okay.
But barring barring anything, I also have the video that we can put up as well. So we've got everything. It's just that I don't understand that.
You know, even with a half hour, you still.
Exactly. I tell everybody all the time, it goes by fast no matter what you do.
Because I could do a 15-minute segment just on the regular funding.
I know. Okay, I'm going to put us back up here. Here. Okay, there we go again. We're back up on that one. Might have been me. I don't know. Okay, here we go. This guy you're listening to right now is my longest running guest of 10 years.
This guy?
Hypnotic one. The guy that we heard before this that does the property management guy's been on my show for 6 years, almost 7 years. And he teaches property management right on the air.
Really?
Because nobody else could. Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you why. Welcome back, everyone. We were live on Facebook. We got off of Facebook. We're back on Facebook. It's just kind of funny in here today. But we are all networking with everybody out there right now. And we were talking a little bit with Susan Brooks, who's with David Allen Capital. We were talking a little bit about thinking outside of the box, how to get money, how to get help when we need, in these times right now. This is a great source for you to look into. And you can go to her website. It's DAC Funding with Susan.com. She does free consultations and she works nationwide. Her phone number is 602-478-4377. Best thing to do is to call, how she can help. Now, we were talking about the funding before. Now we're going to talk a little bit about payment processing. Guys, payment processing, it makes you in business. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Go ahead.
That's the backbone of every business that takes credit cards.
Cha-ching!
Yes, we have payment processors that range from the simple card reader to the more complex payment processors that restaurants use that keep track of everything.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that because I know you had some points on this that you wanted to talk a little bit about. What types of payment processing that you offer? Go ahead.
We have the Edge processors, which also works with non-cash fee processing. We can virtually eliminate your fees. As an example, we've had one agent bring in a customer that was paying almost $6,000 a month in fees. We got that down to virtually zero.
They must be making a lot of money to have that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet that person. Go ahead.
We have several different things. We have free equipment options. We have our company is transparent with fees, which a lot of processing companies are not. We have free statement analysis, customer service 24/7. A business will always talk to a live person. You won't have to leave a message. Next day funding at no additional cost to the business. And because the company is based back east, batch times can go up to 10, 11 o'clock at night. Next day funding at no additional cost. Late batch times, free 2-day shipping on all standard terminals and pay anywhere devices, which is really huge. I know a lot of times people will go through and outright buy the equipment and then have problems with it. And then with the more complicated systems, there's going to be a monthly software fee, which that will cover the cost of updating the software on a monthly basis.
Well, here's what I want to talk about. First of all, a lot of people don't realize that they probably can get merchant services, which is what this really is,
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't think they can, because they don't think that they can qualify, right? Because you do have to qualify in certain areas, but with yours you don't have to. Can they just do merchant funding with you if they want to, or do they have to, do the funding and then get merchant? Or does it matter?
No, they can get the funding on its own. They can get the payment processors on their own. You don't have to have one to get the other.
Okay.
You can fill out a quote anytime. It's free to fill out a quote, and there's no financial obligation until a contract is signed.
And in terms of it, what do you need in order to do it? I know, of course, mine's a little old, 13 years old that I had. And by the way, here's another thing too, though. People should look into them, especially with what you're paying. You never know how much you're paying and how low it is. The back office really is important to know that you have a good back office with them. But so anyone that's listening, that you might want to also check what's the difference, what are you paying, and you have to figure those things out. It takes a little work, but it's worth it. So what does it take, in other words, for them? Let's say they fill out an application. What do they need other than to fill out the application? Do you have anything like, do they have to have a certain FICO score with that or anything like that? In business for a certain amount of time? What is it, or nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
If it's nothing, guys, everybody should do it. I mean, because it will make your business be in business.
It's free to fill out a form, and you don't need anything. You don't need to do anything except go fill out the form.
So if they go up on your website, and then that gets directed to the form, so they can do it right from there.
Yes.
And if they have any questions on it, can they call you and talk to you a little bit about it?
They can talk to customer service, and customer service can help them figure out what option is best for them, whether they need just a simple card reader. If it's a food truck person, do they need just a simple card reader? Do they want a card reader that prints out a receipt? Do they want something that's touchless, a Bluetooth payment type thing? Do they want a complicated system for their restaurant? Do they want just a card reader with a printout for the restaurant? Something that somebody can carry around with them. We have all kinds of options, anywhere from a simple card reader to the more complex stuff.
Now, her phone number is 602-478-4377. The website is dacfundingwithsusan.com. You can also check her out there. You can. She does free consultations with everyone, and she works nationwide. So everybody that's listening all over the nation right now, anybody can work. And people need to understand that sometimes the worst time, which is right now that we're in, the worst time is the best time to get in on this, because first of all, you're also amongst everybody else, that's having issues as well. So you're not just standing out alone with that, and so many more people are willing to work in different ways. But you mentioned some things that I'd like to just have you repeat again, and that was some of the different things that you said. Remember what it was, but where you said that if it was a certain amount of money that they were making, there was no fees. Go ahead. What was that I heard? I perk up when there's no fees. Go ahead.
What makes us stand out is we're transparent with the fees. When a customer is wanting to know what a charge is for, we're more than happy to answer it. Free statement analysis, which a lot of times businesses are charged for that. Customer service 24/7. The businesses can always talk to a live person and not have to leave a message at 10 o'clock at night.
I like that too. I like talking to a live person. Go ahead.
Next day funding at no additional cost. Late batch times. Free 2-day shipping on all standard terminals and pay any for devices.
And how long does it take to get to the money? So let's say you batch. How long does it take? Was it the next day that it's in there?
Next day funding.
Guys, it's always great to have it when you know it's coming in. Yep. And it's that simple. I also like the late batching, because when business always happens at the end of the day.
Yep.
Everybody else is busy, right?
Absolutely.
So it's pretty interesting. Okay, real quickly, basically, what else want to get out on this particular subject?
We compete with Square. Square just raised their prices, so now is a good time to move to the Edge processor to help offset their fees. This could save the business about 35% or more in fees, which is huge.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. If you can save money, and usually it's right here where you can. When you have people, will they go over a person's review, somebody that might already even have one, and see if that you could save them money by just working with you?
Well, what they'll do is work with the customer and see what the best payment processor is for them, so that they can save money as soon as they start using it. And if there's ever any kind of problems with the equipment, our customer service is right on top of it, trying to help figure out what the problem is and get it taken care of immediately.
And you mentioned that there's really not, you could be a startup. So you
Yes.
don't have to necessarily be in business for a long time or even a short, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
And a lot of people out there right now are starting new businesses. You know, you've kind of, everybody's trying to figure things out. This here is another way of you being able, first of all, it's all about the money. How much money can I borrow if I need to borrow, which is right there for you, that you can check them out for that. But also having a business that brings in the cashola right away, it makes you a true business. Being able, and can you take all, all credit cards?
Yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, so go ahead.
Startup businesses are great because that way they're starting out with this stuff. And that way they can see what kind of fees they can save right up front.
And more than anything, guys, I'll tell you one thing. When I started my business, this was a long time ago. And originally I was taking checks. I didn't know that, I didn't even think about it originally because I had just started this thing. And when I found out, boy, what a difference it makes. First of all, you have that money, it's there, it's in your bank, and it doesn't take long. She said it's the next day. I like the fact that they batch late. They're there for you. Their back office is right there for you with any questions, with a live person that you can speak to. That's super important today. And if you're a business, whether you've been in business for a long time, maybe you're already using one, you might want to check and see the difference with the fees. That's always very important. You can call her. She'll do a free consultation with you. 602-478-4377. She works nationwide. You can check her out on her website. It's DAC fundingwithsusan.com. And before we go to a break, I just want to go back, if it's okay with you, on the funding
Sure.
again. Tell them how quickly, how low. I mean, at $5,000, all you need is a what score?
500.
A 500.
And that's the owner, not the business.
Okay. And what about a little bit more, if you want a little bit more than that?
If you want a little bit more than that, you can go with our regular funding, $10,000 up to $1 million, depending on what you need at the time. And your score just has to be 600.
600. I mean, it's so it's feasible.
Yes.
It's feasible to do, and that's what I want people to hear about what you're talking about. Whether it's you or someone that you know, this is a way that you can stay in business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you need some cashola. Also, if you want to get that cashola right away, you started a business or you want to be taking credit cards, it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. You can check her out on her website. It's DAC fundingwithsusan.com. Go up on the website and check it out. 602-478-4377. She works nationwide.